for moral support. Meanwhile, Demetrius, the king of India, had come with Arcite. He had a large nose, bright eyes, and rosy complexion, and a voice that thundered like a trumpet. His curly blonde hair glittered like the sun. He had a few freckles too, and the combination of the freckles and the golden locks made him look like a lion. He had the beginnings of a good beard, which makes me think he was around 25 years old. He wore a crown of green laurel and carried a hawk that was as white as snow. He rode a light-colored horse decked out with steel bridle and covered in golden woven cloth. His coat of arms was decorated with the most perfect large pearls, and his saddle shone like gold. His cape was lined with rubies that sparkled like fire. He too brought 100 of his kinsmen with him, all wearing armor. Everyone made sure to look his best because they knew that many of the most powerful people in the world were attending this tournament. Many kings even brought their tame lions and leopards, and it was in this way that these kings and dukes and princes and knights gathered together outside of Athens around 9 in the morning. Theseus did all he could to make his many guests comfortable. He found rooms for everyone to stay in that matched each person's social standing, and he hosted feasts. He spent so much energy looking after his guests that everyone agreed that he couldn't have done any better had he tried. I could tell you all the details, the food, the wine, the songs, the beautiful women, the decoration, the parties, the dancing, the hunts, the shows, but that would take too long, and I really just cut to the chase. Well, on Sunday morning before dawn, Palamon woke up when he heard the birds singing. It was still 2 hours before the sun would rise, but for some reason the birds were singing early that day, and prepared to go to the Temple of Venus at the new stadium to pray to the goddess before the tournament began. He knelt before the statue of Venus and said, "My lady, Venus, most beautiful of all gods, daughter of Jupiter and wife of Vulcan, keeper of Mount Cythera, hear my prayers. There are no words to describe how much I've suffered for love these past years, and there's nothing I can really ask except for your pity and mercy. I will always be your humble servant and will do everything in my power to serve you if you help me tomorrow. I'll always pray at your temples and make sacrifices to you all the time, no matter where I am, for the rest of my life. I'm not going to brag about my abilities on the battlefield, and I'm not even asking you to help me win or turn me into a famous warrior today. I don't care whether I win or lose. All I want is Emily. I could pray to Mars, the god of war, to bless me and help me win, but I know that the power of love is greater and that I'll have Emily if you help it make it happen. Please find a way to help make this happen. And if you can't give me Emily, then please just let Arcite kill me with his spear. When I'm dead, I won't feel this pain anymore, and I won't care whether Arcite marries Emily. Please help me if you can, my lady." Palamon then offered sacrifices to Venus and made sure that he did them absolutely perfectly without missing a single ritual. After a few moments after he finished, the statue of Venus in the temple shook, which Palamon interpreted as a sign that Venus had heard his prayers and would grant his request. He left the temple in a happy mood and prepared for the coming tournament. A couple of hours after Palamon had gone to the temple of Venus, Emily woke up at dawn and made her way to the temple of the goddess Diana. She brought several servant girls with her, who brought all the stuff they needed to make a proper sacrifice to Diana, including the incense, fire, ceremonial clothing, and a bull's horns filled with mead. When the fires and incense had been lit and everyone had been put on the prayer clothing, Emily went to the well and washed herself with the sacred water. And while I could tell you all the details about how she prayed to Diana and made sacrifices, it really would be quite interesting to hear about all this. It's really good to keep the stories on just the essentials, you know. Oh well, Emily had her beautiful glossy hair down, and she wore a simple crown made of twigs and leaves from an oak tree. She built 2 fires on the altar, and performing all the rituals necessary to pray to Diana, which you can read about in the ancient scholar Stadius books, Thebaid, as well as other very old books. And when everything was ready, she said, "O Virgin Goddess of the forest, Queen of the underworld and Keeper of my heart, Bless me, and please don't be angry with me as you have been with others in the past. You know that I want to remain a virgin all my life and be one of your faithful virgin followers who hunt in the forest just as you do. I never want to have sex with a man and get married or have children. Diana, the goddess of the moon, the underworld, and the hunt, please help me keep this tournament from happening. Please make Palamon and Arcite stop fighting over me. Make them not love me anymore so they can move on with their lives instead of wasting them fighting over me. And if you can't help me stay a virgin forever, then let me marry whoever wants me more. Look at the tears on my cheek, Diana, goddess of virginity. I beg of you to help me, one of your devoted followers, and preserve my virginity for the rest of my life so that I can continue to worship and serve you. When Emily finished her prayer, she saw something very strange. One of the 2 fires burning on the altar went out, then sparked back to life. Then the other fire did the same and snapped back to life, just like wet branches do when they burn. This scared Emily so much that she screamed and started crying because she didn't know what was going on. She was so frightened that the goddess Diana, dressed as a hunter with her bow in her hand, appeared before Emily and said, "Stop crying, my child. The gods in heaven have already decided that you're going to marry either Arcite or Palamon, both of whom have suffered so much pain because of you. I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to tell you which of them it will be. I'm also sorry that I can't stay. But pay attention to the fires burning on the altar, because they will tell you what the future holds. If you interpret the signs correctly." With a bang, Diana disappeared. Emily was so shocked by what had just happened that she said, "God, what does this all mean? Diana, I give myself over to you. Do with me as you see fit." And when she was done, she returned back to the palace. Soon after this, Arcite went to the stadium to offer sacrifices at the temple of Mars, the god of war, with genuine devotion. He prayed, "O Mars, patron of Thrace and god of war throughout the entire world, please accept my humble sacrifice. If I am strong enough, not too young, to receive your blessing and be one of your devoted followers, I ask you to have mercy on me. I have suffered for my beautiful desire for a beautiful woman, just as you once suffered for Venus when you slept with her, even though you were caught by Vulcan, her husband. Remember how you felt then, and then think of me, who suffers just as much. You know as well as I do that I'm young and naive, just as you were. But I'm suffering love's pains more than anyone has ever suffered before. The woman who I love makes me suffer like this, not caring what happens to me. I know that I have to win her if I'm ever to have her. In order to do that, I'll need some help because I'm not strong enough to do it on my own. Mars, remember that the love you once felt for Venus, and help me tomorrow in battle. For this I will forever be indebted to you, and will pray to you more than any other god and wage war to please you and burn a fire at your altar from now until the day I die. This I promise you with all my heart. I swear I'll even chop off my beard and hair, neither of which have ever been cut for you. I'll be your devoted servant as long as I'm alive, and I will never ask anything else of you ever again." When Arcite had finished saying his prayer, the doors to the temple slammed shut with a bang and all by themselves. The altars grew stronger, so they lit up the whole temple, while a sweet fragrance began wafting up from the floor. Frightened a little, Arcite threw more incense into the fires and began reciting prayers. Then suddenly the chain mail on the statue of Mars began to clank as a low voice murmured, "Victory." Grateful for the omen, Arcite said more prayers and made more sacrifices to Mars. And when he was finished, he left the temple, happy that Mars had heard his prayer. Arcite may have been happy, but Venus was furious when she heard that Mars had promised his favored Theban warrior victory. She and Mars got into a big fight, which Jupiter tried unsuccessfully to resolve. Finally, all Saturn, who had seen so many other squabbles between gods in his time, stepped in with a compromise that would make everyone happy. I guess it's true that we get wiser as we get older. Anyway, Saturn turned to them both and said, "My daughter Venus, my planetary orbit is wide and gives me more power over men in the course of human events than anyone really knows. I am the waves that drown you in the ocean, the darkness that imprisons you with fear, the noose around the condemned man's neck, the rebellion of the common folk, the satisfaction and poison and disease and treason. I am vengeful and punishing when, in the constellation Leo, I've brought down kingdoms and castle walls. I've killed Samson when I created the earthquake and brought the pillar down. My gaze can even infect people with the plagues all by itself. Now please stop crying, Venus. I'll make sure that Palamon wins the woman he loves, just as you promised him. Even if Mars is going to help our side, even if we don't see eye to eye, you two still shouldn't fight anymore. Listen to me, and I'll make sure you get what you want. Well, now I'm going to stop talking about Mars and Venus and the gods and heavens, and I'll tell you about the most important, exciting part of the story, which is why I wanted to tell you this story in the first place.